The Plainfield Board of Education order, 7 p.m., Plainfield High School Library, November 18, 2005. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now turn the meeting over to the Superintendent for elections of chair.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Welcome, everyone. This is the election evening for the Board of Education because there has been an election and we have some new members that have joined us. Mr. Botcher here is a new member of the Board of Education. I'm sorry, Betcher. Sorry, Mr. Betcher is a new member of the Board of Education. And then being reappointed, we have Cindy Arpin, who was with us before, and Mr. Michael Cartier. So this evening is a point where the entire board gets to reestablish their leadership. So I am here to start this part of the meeting where I am asking if there are any nominations for the position of chairman or chairperson of the Board of Education. I'm accepting the nominations are open. I'll accept any nominations.
I'll move that we nominate Doug Smith as chair.
We have a nomination for Doug Smith for chairman of the Board of Education. We have a second from Mr. Cartier. Are there any other nominations being forwarded at this time for chairperson of the Board of Education? In the process we use, we ask 3 times to make sure that it has been assured. Do I hear any further nominations for the chairman of the Board of Education? Last opportunity. Is there any other nominations for chairman of the Board of Plainfield Board of Education? That being done, I still will ask that you have a slip of paper that says chair. If you would unfold it in half, and then on the inside, write the name of the person you wish to vote for, and pass them forward. And the position is awarded to Douglas Smith, Chairman of the Plainfield Board of Education. Congratulations.
I'd like to thank all the board members of the board for my confidence, and I'll try to do my best for the next 2 years. Okay, with that, I'm opening for vice chair. Do you have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Christy Haskell for vice chair.
Second.
I have a nomination for Chrissy Haskell in a second. Is there any other nominations?
Kathleen Berry, Vice Chair.
Okay, Kathleen Berry for vice chair. Is there a second on that?
Yeah.
A second. Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, we have 2 nominations with second for Christy Haskell and Kathleen Berry. Please pass it down.
6-3, Christy Haskell.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, nominations for secretary.
I'd like to nominate Audrey Lemieux.
Motion made and seconded to nominate Audrey. Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations for secretary? Is there any other nominations for secretary? If not, fill out your ballots. Pass them in. You should take these two. I'm going to keep those for record. All 9 of them, Jamie?
Yep, also Audrey.
Congratulations, Audrey.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Go on, Sam. Okay, with that, consent agenda. Do I have a motion on consent agenda?
I'll move that we accept the consent agenda.
Motion been made, looking for a second. Did you second, Cindy? I didn't hear you, okay. Motion made and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Resignations and appointments. Ken?
Yes. It is with regret that, but with understanding and support for Mr. Kenneth Bayer, that I ask you to note he has written to you requesting that you support, and I do ask for your consent on the resignation of Mr. Kenneth Bayer from his teaching position at Plainfield Central School effective December 31st, 2015, for the purposes of retirement. Mr. Bayer has been a 39-year veteran in service to the students here in Plainfield's public schools, and he has made a decision that it's time for his transition. So I ask that you accept with regret his resignation for purposes of retirement.
I'll make a motion that we accept with regret Mr. Bayer's motion for, or his letter of resignation.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to accept his letter of resignation for the purpose of retirement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public forum, PHS band recognition. You wanted to say something there?
Yes, because we're going to be honoring the PHS band, and you're welcome to come here, give me 1 second. What we also wanted to do is, this week we had the honor to go to the Teacher of the Year ceremony held in Hartford at the Bushnell, and that ceremony honored all 169 Teachers of the Year in the respective districts, but it also particularly honored the 15, 16 semifinalists, of whom Bob Riley is here, and we want to Sure, we'd love to.
I'd like to take this opportunity to present this plaque to Mr. Jim Worth, who is principal of Plainfield High School. Please accept this on my behalf, and thank you.
Mr. Riley. You made us very proud, so congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. I also want to thank the town town of Plainfield I have served you for 33 years, and I have not had a more glorious time here, serving these children and grandchildren. And thank you very much for this opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
This marks Plainfield's first semifinalist candidate for Teacher of the Year, one of the top 16 in the state. It's an honor to be able to have our teachers being represented among the best, and so it's just very exciting. Congratulations, Bob. And we do want to hear about the PHS band, because we are extremely excited for your success this year. And
Hi, I'm Ryan Clazen, and I'm the drum major of the marching band.
And I'm Tessa Halson, I'm brass captain, and we would like to share with you the success of the marching band this season. If you look behind us, you'll see some of our trophies and the banner. So that we won state championships this year for the 3rd time in a row, and we are very proud to keep that legacy going.
And we also traveled to Pennsylvania, Allentown, and competed in Grand Nationals for the first time ever. And we placed 7th out of 26 or 7 bands. And we got 2 captions for overall effect, which we shared with the first place winners. And it was Spirit of Band's caption, which represents best pride off and on the field. And we just wanted to say a big thank you for all your support and making everything run smoothly and making us as successful as we do.
We want to thank you.
I'm sorry?
How you coming on your uniform money?
We're almost there. The order has been placed.
The order's been placed?
Yes.
so 2 things of note. One is the fact that on Monday, I know that Mrs. Howard is meeting with John Penny from the Bulletin, and they're running a feature article on PHS band, your progress over the last 5 years, your success over the last 3, and your significant success this year. Congratulations. And also, I sent all of the information, including your video of your nationals, to the Commissioner of Education, who was asked if she could write you a letter to the students and congratulate you on your rapid rise to the success you've had and how you represent Connecticut in its entirety. Congratulations.
PHS Student Liaison, Mr. Worth, we have a new member this year?
Yes, we do. At this time, we have 1 member. I'm still looking for the 2nd member, but right now we've got Ariana Landry. Ariana is a junior here at Plainfield High School. She is here to represent our student population on the board. She's very happy to do so. I think she's going to do a great job. And at this point, Ari, I think you have your first report, right?
Yeah. I'm Ariana Landry.
Bring the mic back to you closer.
You can pull it.
I'm pleased to be the Plainfield Student Liaison and am looking forward to the next year and a half here on the board. The first thing on the list is we participated in the SAT day on October 14th, and that went well. The freshmen took the OSLA test. Sophomores and juniors both took the PSATs, and the seniors took the SATs. Seniors are receiving their results, and the results from the PSAT will be in December. The second thing is the Diary of Anne Frank, which is our fall production, will be this Friday and Saturday. Tickets are available. This show is a Black Box Theater, which is where the audience comes and they are sitting on the stage. Fall sports are coming to a close. The football team will be ending their season on Thanksgiving at
the Thanksgiving football game at Griswold High School. Winter sports will be starting soon after that. And fourth is the marching band. The marching band won states and New England championship and went to Allentown, Pennsylvania, where it placed 7 out of, I think it's 27 bands in our division. And tomorrow is career day here at the high school.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
I know I'm thrilled to see student participation on the board. I really feel it's great to have you guys here, and I hope that we get a second participant as well.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the board. MES presentation, Fall Festival Competition. Mrs. Nebraska.
Good evening. Just prior to the meeting, I put a packet in front of each of you, and it has a little, the front page looks like this. I'm here tonight because it wasn't really a competition, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about teachers that we have in our district that think outside the box. This project and this person I'm going to present tonight is one of those people, but I know there are many in the district who we don't get to hear all about what everyone does, but this is a great example. And the teacher, as you can see, is not here with me because she's the kind of teacher, she's like, no, Colleen, I'm not going. I said, well, can I go and brag about you? And she turns all red and she wishes I wouldn't. But this is an example of a teacher who thinks outside the box in order to excite and encourage her students in learning. She went on to a website called donorschoose.org. This is her second project she's had funded by them. Her first project was last year, and she got funded for 6 mini iPads for her classroom. This one was a project, it was a project-based learning task that she put in for, and have you ever watched the TV show Shark Tank? Well, she did that with her class. And what they did was they had to come up with an idea for a product to be sold at our fall festival. And these are first grade students, by the way. But they went home, they brainstormed with their families, they came up with their ideas, they brought them back to the classroom, they all voted and decided which products they were going to then promote. So they all got together in teams, they collaboratively had to come up with a persuasive commercial. They worked with their teacher to videotape the commercials on their iPads. And then they brought those commercials forth to a 3rd grade class who used a rubric to score them and decide which product would be actually produced. And the product that won was Pumpkin Patch Cups. And they're a little chocolate pudding cup with Oreo cookies on top and little candy pumpkins. The kids made 65 of these, sold them at our fall festival, and then donated all the money to the PTO to help pay for some of the trips and things that the PTO does for them. And what I have on video for you tonight is the winning commercial. So while there aren't any kids here, we're going to bring them to you virtually. And like I said, this is really just an example of how teachers in Plainfield think outside the box to really engage our kids.
Hi, this is fourth class. We all know fellows. I'm Lexi. I'm Ava. And I'm Tyler. Our product is Pumpkin Patch Cups. They have delicious pudding, baked Oreos, green sprinkles, and candy pumpkins that look real. You should pick our product because it's delicious and looks like real pumpkins in fall. Don't be a pumpkin, pick our product.
And the cute factor is way there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was
That was great. Public forum, is there anyone that'd like to address the board?
Hi,
Hello.
how's it going?
Good.
My name is Tandy Rossman-Kerrigan. I've spoken with you all before. Today I represent the voices of the teachers at Plainfield High School. We come to you as a group of intelligent, capable, mature, and caring teachers who have some legitimate concerns about the negative impact that an AB schedule would have on our students and their performance at our building. These are the students that we work with every day as their teachers, as their mentors, as their surrogate parents, as their advocates. And as a faculty, we understand that the 4x4 block isn't as conducive as it could be. There are definitely drawbacks and benefits that we are intimately aware with, and we welcome fresh ideas on how to improve our students' educational experience, but we feel very strongly that our voices have value, and we wish to be included on this discussion. Until now, we've kind of felt like our concerns have fallen a bit on deaf ears, and we're appealing to the board to hear some of the legitimate concerns that we have regarding the schedule and some other ideas. We're not here to cause a scene. We're not here to start any arguments. We're not here to be a distraction. I stand here as the 2014 Plainfield Teacher of the Year with Brian Stevenson, our 2012 Plainfield Teacher of the Year, Carrie LaRoche, our 2015 Plainfield High School Teacher of the Year, and a key correspondent with the scheduling committee, which was tasked with finding a schedule that works for our specific kids. We speak together, the three of us, as a voice for the entire Plainfield High School, bringing all of our years of educational experience with working with our talented, wonderful, and very unique students.
When the PHS Scheduling Committee initiated, we looked at attributes that would benefit students across all subject areas, being extremely mindful of the challenges that our individual students face. Continuity and connectedness were this, with seeing our students on a consistent basis was unanimously our top priority. This builds relationships, consistency, and structure for our students. Many of the families in our community work extended hours and some work multiple jobs in order to support their families. Our students need consistent contact with us as additional adults who are there for them to help form meaningful relationships that will help them to prosper academically, socially, and emotionally. Student-teacher relationships are absolutely critical to our students. The AB schedule appears on the surface to allow more continuity, but actually does the opposite. In an AB schedule, students shuffle 8 classes at a time, 4 classes each day, seeing one set of classes 3 times a week and the other set twice a week. This negatively impacts the consistency of our contact with our student population, which is as imperative to their success as is an environment that allows sufficient space and time for student contemplation, response, planning, and construction, as well as skill development, refinement, and assessment that is conducive to our students. It is imperative that the schedule chosen allows students the challenges of risk-taking, critical thinking, learning, and creativity. Our students are unique. They are not a one-size-fits-all. Many students work, many students play sports, many students take care of other siblings at home as well as themselves due to the parents working 2 jobs, especially in our town where 16.4% of families live below poverty level. Building relationships, having consistency, and having structure are becoming more and more important in order to help meet the emotional, academic, and behavioral needs of our students with the increasing academic rigor of academic expectations.
Learning subject matter every other day or every 3 days does not lend itself to the daily consistency needed for students, especially those who are already struggling with high academic expectations as well as high absenteeism issues. 18.8% of our students have chronic absenteeism. Demographics in our town depict a 25% level of students requiring IEP and 504 support and who already have a hard time succeeding while meeting in the classes daily. In an AB schedule, classes meet 3 times 1 week and 2 times the following, which means that students would have a consistent 3-day break between class meetings, either Friday to Tuesday or Thursday to Monday. Any disruption in the rotation can mean at least a 5-day break between class meetings, i.e. Friday to Thursday or Thursday to Wednesday. This includes snow days, field trips, assemblies, and illness, which will increase the gap between when courses meet and in turn the achievement gap. In addition, specific classes such as lab courses, broadcasting and media communications, culinary arts, music, art, and special education, which includes work study programs, require day-to-day contact in order to be successful. Some courses, in fact, directly rely on everyday contact. For example, students who work with the Discover Video, a district investment that costs $70,000, require consistent contact in order to create their high-quality visual presentations, such as morning announcements, digital signage, the Plainfield Schools website, and Channel 22. Without allowing classes to run consistently, there is no continuous block available for the courses which require it. Many subjects use real-world, project-based learning with strict deadlines to prepare them for career success and to follow the latest research in brain-based learning. Currently, our students lose instructional time due to assemblies, meetings, field trips, student and teacher illness, and snow days. Any combination of one or more of these factors can create an even larger gap in class meetings and therefore the learning process. An unplanned 5- or 7-day gap would be enormously detrimental to student success. In addition, we do not currently offer the amount of elective courses and lack additional teachers necessary to keep all 700 students in 8 academic courses at one time. Some schools who use the AB schedule currently, such as Killingly High School, are in the process of exploring new schedules due to its ineffectiveness for student learning. Only one of the top 25 performing schools in Connecticut, Avon, uses an AB block, and their demographics are surely significantly different than ours. The other top schools in Connecticut all run either on a modified block or a straight period schedule. Biologically speaking, connections are formed through consistent practice, and multi-day breaks are not conducive to retaining information in any discipline or task. Concerns grow even more when we consider the needs of our special ed students. When an IEP requires a student to have no more than 2 core classes in one semester in our current schedule, schedule constraints in the AB model may cause some students to have all of their core classes bundled into one day. This can cause student anxiety and difficulties with time management for students, organizational support, and resource support. Many of our special ed students struggle with retention of skills and materials learned. Missing an extended period of time can cause stagnant progress or even regression. The aforementioned potential for large gaps in class meetings and student learning will be felt even greater with some of the special ed students due to special services that sometimes pull them out of class, like speech or social groups.
In conclusion, we wanted to remind the board that all the teachers that are here today from the high school representing our beliefs are simply sharing their strong beliefs about how this can negatively impact our students. We would like to share in the discussion about which schedule affects our students the best, and we do believe that our voices matter in this. This is a staff that is not afraid of change. In the past 5 years alone, we have embraced all opportunities to help our students grow as young adults and as future leaders. We've embraced state and federal mandates regarding special education and inclusion. We've accepted all of the recommendations from NEASC. We've switched from capped testing that we've all been used to computer-based national testing. We have changed entire curriculum, including AP Biology and AP History, to reflect current national standards and requirements while keeping our students competitive on the national level, despite the fact that they come from this tiny little town. We've embraced the universal PSATs and SATs with open arms, and we as a group have prepared our students for immense success on both of those exams. And we're rolling out new technology every day, most specifically right now, one-on-one Chromebooks, which requires the entire rewrite of curriculums and a humongous shift in teaching strategy. We are not afraid. We embrace any change that facilitates the improvement of opportunities and growth for our students. The AB block is not our only option. We have other options that work well for our district, for our students, and for our demographics. As you guys finish up your meetings in the future, we really would hope that you keep those thoughts of ours in your mind and the thoughts of our students in your mind as we make decisions that affect our specific students. And we as a faculty are not going to stop striving for what's best for them.
Thank you.
We'll stay up here. This is on the agenda, so is there any board members that have questions for the teachers?
Do you represent the minority of the teachers or the majority?
The majority, ma'am.
Okay, and how do you know that?
Because we've all discussed, had meetings and votes which represent what our feelings are. In addition, we all contributed to a Google Doc in which we contributed all of our concerns about the schedules, and as a community made decisions that would help our students working cross-curricularly to figure out problems that I never knew that other teachers would face to find what works best for all of our students as a whole.
I'm new with this, so can you do a brief synopsis of what the 4x4 schedule is?
The current
one you're in?
The current 4x4 schedule is a semesterized schedule where we meet 4 blocks daily for 1 semester at a time. Each block is roughly 84 minutes, and they stay in the same order every day for the semester.
And then the second semester is different classes?
Exactly. With the exception of some classes, such as AP classes and some of the music classes that we strive to have kids consistent for the entire year, and therefore they take that
So
class.
it's still 4 classes a day, just instead of cycling, it's 4 for 1 semester, 4 for another semester?
Yes, sir.
What has the high school recommended?
We have a scheduling committee that has spent a tremendous amount of time working on what works specifically for our students, taking into consideration all of the different input for teachers. We have a few schedules that we've focused down on as possibilities, and we would like to be able to move ahead with choosing one that does work for our entire population.
The problem is we're getting very close to budget time.
That is true.
And we don't have the time. The big thing right now is in January, the superintendent and department heads have to present a budget to this Board of Ed.
Right, and I think that I speak for all of us when I say that our major concern is if we jump to any schedule, an AB schedule, another schedule, without putting forth the background and the information needed for our students, then we're making change for change's sake, and we're not making positive change.
Well, the problem is the 4x4 isn't working. Do you agree?
I mean, I can't speak to for the entire staff on that. That's something that our discussions leading up to this meeting were specifically regarding the AB schedule. I guess our questions at this point really would be, what is our time frame, and what can we do from here? What are our options and possibilities?
You got about 2 weeks, I'd say, Ken.
Well, December 9th, you need to make a vote.
Huh?
December 9th, you need to act on a decision to be prepared for your budget sequence.
Could we have them come and do a presentation of their thoughts on December 9th before we vote? You said you have a committee that's come up with ideas.
Does everyone feel okay if we speak on December 9th of something that we put together that will work for all of our students?
Joyce? It works for us.
I have to tell you that my first inclination with thinking ahead to the college planning and everything is that this AB schedule fits for what colleges do. I'm just concerned that if we move and we don't consider the AB schedule, because other schools have had success with it, that we're just, personally from a rigor standpoint, I like the fact that there's a day in between classes because it enables kids to go home, process information, to do their homework assignments, and not to be rushing through it. Gives them, it's starting to teach them that budgeting of time.
If I might, there's a couple of points that I actually like to speak to in that. The first being the day in between, which is something that has been brought up by other people in the argument for the AB schedule. But it seems like people are forgetting that the students would actually have other classes on those other days. And yes, colleges do work on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday classes. But we are also, the time allotment for classes in high schools versus colleges is significantly different. And we're dealing specifically with the needs of our students and what we're seeing in classrooms and in the successes that we've had with them, and that's where we're trying to build something that will work directly for them. And there's a growing concern that on the schedule that we're on, meeting daily, that students aren't meeting the success level that we need them to in some cases, and therefore then moving to a schedule that is going to automatically build in at minimum a 3-day break every week, and potentially more than that, given all of the circumstances that we have, that could be a huge detriment to the kids. You know, as these ladies, you know, alluded to, this document didn't come from one person, it didn't come from 2 or 3 people. This was a Google Doc that was compiled with ideas from multiple faculty members, multiple disciplines, and we tried our best to include everyone's thoughts in it.
Okay, all I gotta say is your group needs to come together and decide what they wanna do. And let Mr. Worth know. Like I said, the next meeting, this is an information meeting tonight. The next meeting, we vote on what we're gonna be doing.
So I'm sorry, just, are we saying that if we were to come with an idea presentable on December 9th, that it would be a potential for...
No, you need to bring it up to Mr. Word.
Before that date?
Before then, well before then. I'd
Yes, sir.
say within the next week or 2.
Yes, sir.
The board
And he
does
has to
get,
discuss it with the superintendent.
and the board
you
does
gotta
get
bring
their
it-
packets beforehand, so we do read it through. We're more inclined to read something and follow everything.
If
I
we get
know,
the packet the Friday before the board meeting.
Excellent.
Try to make sure we go through everything before we come.
So
Sounds fantastic.
all I gotta say is your group needs to get together, decide what you want, bring it to Mr. Worth, me and Mr. DePietro. And then they'll write up and it'll be part of the board package. Okay?
Do you have a consensus as to what you want now?
No, we do not.
So it's
There are
still-
ideas on the table. We need to discuss them fully as a faculty and make sure that everyone is accepting of one idea.
And our faculty is all ready and willing to sit down and make that commitment to find what works for our particular students.
All I gotta say is in 3 weeks, we have another meeting, because this week, it was a week late because of elections.
The curriculum committee, the scheduling committee has been in effect for almost 2 years now, and they have come and compiled many different ideas that pieces have been pulled out of to make something ideal for our students. And what we need to do now is finish up as a faculty, putting together all of the best ideas to find the best situation for our kids.
Mr. DePietro, I know in the past I thought I remembered asking, this goes back maybe 2 years, what the other neighboring school districts are you currently using as well for their schedule? Do we
There are a
still have
number,
that?
Griswold, Killingly, Woodstock, there are a number of others that use an AB. There are districts all over the state that do, some use a 7 period, some use an 8, some use a drop 1, drop 2. Some have a 48 to 52 minute schedule, 6 periods a day. Plainfield has had a block with 82 with only 3 transfers between first, second, third, and fourth class. So they have only a 5-minute break in between. That 15 minutes multiplied times 180 days is a loss of time. When you get to 5 and 6 periods a day to try to do a drop 1, drop 2 on an 8-period cycle, you have to lose 25 minutes between 5 classes. Multiply that times 180, you lose approximately 90 hours of instruction to transfer. So part of the reason for block that was used is because it reduces travel time and allows for the maximum amount of block time. That's how it came to be, is it exists. And 4x4 and the ED are somewhat comparable, but as stated, there is an alternating day rather than 90 days of learning. You have to do 180 over. You have to do 90 days over 180-day cycle.
Thank you.
Mr. DePietro, please. And maybe we can talk about this after the meeting, I don't want to go too long, but why is the block schedule on right now not working? Do we have stats? I read through your thing, but didn't really get into why we don't think it's working. Do teachers not think it's working? Or does the state not think it's working? Who doesn't think the block system's working right now?
Well, we're going to deal with this a little later during the
Okay,
session.
okay, then I'll.
Are we, would you like to ask us any more questions? Should we step
No, I
aside?
don't have any more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I've been to talk to Ken about this before, and I've talked to Jim about this also. My daughter is a senior next year. She is in a good place. This will not affect her in any negative way. If we have students who are stumbling, this is not a good choice for them at this point in time, for one. For two, these students that need the support, they're getting great support. My daughter would not have had the success here. She came in as a homeschooled child who had minimal effort, and I was not great with English, I'll say it, obviously, listen to me. I am not very good at teaching English. I wasn't good at teaching her reading. I just got back her scores from last year's testing. I was ecstatic that she'd been placed where she did. I know that she's a high honor student. She's a great kid. She really is. But I expected with standardized testing for her to not do well. Because of this schedule and our teachers and the work that they put into these students, my daughter is looking at Penn State University, and they're looking at her. My daughter has so many opportunities. If you do this now without hearing what they are saying to you and not really taking into consideration what they know because they're with these kids. I see it even in my own neighborhood. I have 5 high school students on my road. 2 are still in school. 3 have dropped out.
Let me interrupt 1 second. If you remember a few minutes ago, I said them two get together.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying as a parent, not everybody knows this is going on. If I wasn't sitting in this room, I wouldn't have had a clue that this was coming. Can this be made more public, that more parents know about it, other than just at a board meeting? Can't we make a formal announcement to the parents that you're talking about changing our students' schedule?
It's on the agenda, and the agenda is public.
I get that, but I mean, we use our announcement system for everything. We use our public announcement system for everything. We use that, hey, the kids' pie orders in. You know, can't we put it out there, hey, they're talking about the high school scheduling at the next board meeting?
We can do it.
I would love to see the stats. I should have asked you before. I would love to see the statistics on dropout rate, that it's increased, because I thought it had gone down, in truth and honesty. I want to see the stats between the two, because I know it doesn't affect my household, but it does affect others in our area, and I'm concerned as a parent. I'm concerned as the education that these people are putting in to my child is going to be compromised because of their workload changing. Some of these teachers put so much effort into their students that they are not getting their grades in the time period sometimes that they are given constraints due to the fact that the effort that they're putting into our children. And I feel that putting 120 students on them at a time is going to make it a lot worse.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to address the board? If not, old business, budget and facility report. Mr. Lucy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are currently working towards our current budget. There are no changes made in our total appropriation. We have exposed a few areas of concern over the last month. Mr. DePietro has been involved with some high-level discussions with our insurance provider and also our transportation executives. And with that, I would like to turn this over to Mr. DePietro to discuss the line items that we are looking to change for the next time frame.
So I would ask our board members to look at page 3 of the budget, section 8. If you go to the budget section, you go to page 3, it's a horizontal page, and it will give you the object code, and to the right of it, there will be some commentary. We're going to stay on that page in its entirety, so if you can stay with that, I just want you as a board to hear just some of the challenges that we're currently addressing. Are we good? Okay, so there are approximately 4 areas that are projected now as an over expenditure let me just highlight them for you. So there is a number called 138,789. That is in paraprofessionals that we have added for the purpose of need of preschool and some special needs programs that have increased this year. So $138,000 is an unanticipated increase over what we projected. We need to mitigate that. We have to always get to a balanced budget. We're obligated as a board and as a district to fall within the appropriation. The next big number that you'll see that's underlined is approximately $130,000, and that is under workers' compensation. To that, I need you to understand that if you look historically back, you will see that this district as a school has paid $350,000 a year for workers' compensation. 4 years ago, we paid that, and we lived within that budget with the insurance company. The following year, we paid $315,000 again. But last year, we eliminated 45 buses, 45 drivers, and because of all of that elimination, $1 million in capital liability and 45 employees, approximately $1.8 million in employees no longer working for us, Kerma reinstated for us, returned to us about $180,000 because they saw that our cost projections and our cost liability dropped by 50%. However, this year, which we expected they would sustain that, they reinstated it to $380,000. So we're off by about $130,000 to $150,000 from Kerma, and we are now in negotiations with them to ask them why would they reinstate when we no longer have the employees and no longer own the buses. So we are in negotiations, but today we have to make those cuts, at least on paper, so we have an appropriated budget. Two more numbers. One is that there's $136,000. That's in student transportation. This board knows how hard it was to rethink our regular run. So we dropped 2 buses. We have 18 buses where there were 20. Those buses are running appropriately. We're getting kids to school and home appropriately. But it added a bus at Killingley. So our net is still, we have 1 less bus in our regular run. We then have 2 new buses that were needed, one to go to the School for the Deaf and one to go to Brooklyn Learn Center because there are 3 children needing those services. So there were 2 buses. If you add those and subtract, there should be 1 net bus of about $75,000. But the way DATCO has calculated our costs and we are paying, they're at approximately $180,000 of an increase. We are in a conversation with DATCO as to the discrepancy. Again, today I'm only going to tell you where we took the money from on paper, not against children. We are not cutting programs, we're not reducing sports, we're not cutting after school or extracurricular. We're going to show you where we took cuts on paper while we argue with DATCO and Kerma so that we can keep our programs without sacrificing our budget liability. So those are the biggest numbers. There's one small number of $30,000, and that's because during the summer, the bus drivers that now work for DATCO actually accrued $90,000 in unemployment. But the law states is because we hired them 12 months ago, or they left less than 12 months ago, we are the liable partner for their unemployment. Up until August 9th, August 18th, they collected on our dollar. So instead of DATCO paying them unemployment, we had to pay their unemployment. And because we were told by DATCO that they try to employ as many in the summer as possible, we did expect about $60,000, but it came to $90,000. So that $30,000 in a $34 million budget will handle it. So you hear 4 big numbers, additional paras where they're needed for PPTs, Kerma liability costs that we cannot explain with all of the work we did. We received the award, you got that award last year, for being the best district in the state of Connecticut that reduced worker absence due to injury. And we got an award for having done that the best in all of Connecticut. And then they gave us a $180,000 additional bill this year. I can't explain that. And then you heard that we have some student transportation. Where we took the money from is there was some savings in salaries on our certified stock side. We saved some money in health insurance. You know we gave 1% back to our employees because of our effective e-chip. And we are informing them that they're getting another % reduction back because our costs are mitigated by the fact that our reserves are there. So we have another $112,000 we're saving in health insurance. Doesn't hurt a child, and it actually is to our benefit. We are saving about $40,000 in a couple of areas of purchase services. That comes from history. We are saving this $57,000 you heard we're getting back from E-rate. We're going to now apply that towards our deficit. That is projected at this point. Hopefully we'll still be able to use that for technology. The three that I want to bring your attention to is on paper right now in textbooks, instructional supplies, and library books. We looked historically, and if you look at instructional supplies, we spent $241,000 4 years ago, $283,000, and then we spent $268,000. This year we budgeted for $336,000. So since we are about $50,000 more this year budgeted than any expenditures in the last 3 years, we're cutting it now because it doesn't undercut what we have spent. We are hoping that these will all be reinstated. The first three priorities are any cuts to instructional supplies would be reinstated first. But you'll notice at the bottom we have a zero balance. And the zero balance is looking at historically where can we take some paper cuts. We're actually cutting on our budget side those projected expenses. When we meet with DATCO and meet with KERMA before December 9th, we'll be able to present to you whether those monies have been reinstated, and then the only cuts you will see are historical evidence that we can make these cuts without any impact on services, supplies, or staffing. There are no cuts in staff, by the way. So that's just for you to understand. This is the first time in 5 years that I had to come to the board and give you a November projection of how we have to offset increases that were just unpredictable at the time, back in June. But we are cutting.
I'm sorry?
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yep.
If the challenge to DATCO is successful, that would be to the good $136,000?
I would say we'd expect $30,000 to $60,000 because we expect we can recover one bus. It's about $65,000.
And if the challenge to KERMA is as we hope?
If it's as we hope, we expect $180,000. I would say they're going to defend themselves, and we're hoping for $80,000 to $100,000. So you already have a zero budget. The $140,000 gets reseeded back into priorities, all instructional supplies, all textbooks, all technology, because the other ones are just historically evident that we don't spend that money. We haven't had to.
And at this point in the game, it's too early to predict how either the DATCO or KERMA challenges will result.
Right. We have both of them coming in before your meeting in December. We have told them unequivocally that they need to understand or explain to us why there is a discrepancy between all of our projections in our contracts and the numbers that they're now projecting for us. We do believe we'll be successful with them. And I can also tell you, last year we returned $67,000 to the town. The year before we had $100,000, and the year before that was $130,000. They have allowed us to use that $100,000 to buy technology and Chromebooks, but we actually were able, every year, we're able to give back money. So some of this money is mitigated before the end of the year. My obligation to you is to give you a balanced budget each month. And right now, it's taking the cuts on lines that appear to have historical evidence of not hurting student performance.
Thank you. I understand. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, building committee status report, Mr. Lucier.
Mr. Chairman, if I may back up just 1 second on the facility report itself, that I want to report that we completed all the walkthroughs, and all the principals have supplied me with the documentation to consolidate that I'll have ready for next month.
Okay.
On the building committee status report, we did meet, I think it was November 12th. All the roof projects are complete, and all the invoices have been approved for payment. The only thing that is open at this point is the roof over the cafeteria at Moosup Elementary School. Mr. DePietro has been in communication with the officials at the State Department of Education Building Committee, and has received some very good news that we're going to be able to put the roof of Moosup into a two-phase project, which will allow us to receive all the funding at the 75% reimbursement rate. That's really good news because now we can do the abatement and the re-roofing without having our hands tied to a $50,000 limit. That was really quite important. I would like to report that Quality Roofing did pay us the $8,000 for the retaining wall damage that they did over at the PCS PMS complex. I've spoken with Mr. Tatro at the town, and he is working with me to do the wall repair. That is something that he's thinking we can do in the spring. He's pretty much booked right now to do any kind of side projects, but it looks like we can have that wall repaired and use that $8,000 to help offset some of these issues that we have going on there. That's it.
Any questions? All right, second reading of search and seizure. Look for a motion to approve policy 5145.12, search and seizure. Motion made and seconded to approve search and seizure. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, strategic dialogue. I talked with Superintendent and I had a discussion. We'd like to meet on the morning of December 12th with the whole board. It's another Saturday. What?
Not a bad day.
No, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it a bad day for anybody?
It's the only weekend I don't have class. So it's a
Well, that's
good
perfect.
weekend.
You both make it. Well, we hit it just right. We'll have breakfast 8 o'clock and start at 8:30
We're here.
upstairs.
At 8:30, you want to start that?
At the ECC.
ECC building.
Yeah, this one's ECC. The other, well, I'm getting two meetings mixed up with you.
So
Which one?
We're talking about one upstairs.
when is it? So
Oh,
where-
in the cafeteria.
Are we having this?
That was what we,
Yeah, that
was that this meeting or
That
the
could
other?
be this one, you could have it here. That would be exciting for the public. Let me give the minute just so you have some new members. What happens is, this board has authorized that we went out and we went to all PTOs, we went to faculty, we went to administration, and we came to you. They had a summer retreat. And we asked every one of those groups, tell us what you want of Plainfield schools over the next 5 years. We have data from all different sources. We have them in quadrants. And what the board has done in the past to get us in our current strategic plan is you as a board now can see what each of the groups have said are their priorities. And many of you know I've sat at the PTO, you've heard what parents have said. So now you need to crosswalk it to see what is the most common things that people want in academic rigor for students to be successful. What do you want to see among hiring professional staff and the success of teachers? What do you want to see among parent engagement? So that's what the exercise is, and it's a very public exercise. It gives you a chance to see the data and determine what should be the priority goals over the next 5 years, and then we will scaffold them for you for each year, what we can do each year to get us. That's how we got universal pre-K, that's how we got universal SATs, that's how we made changes to our programs throughout the years. So it's a very good meeting.
This is not the budget meeting, this is the
No.
strategic plan.
Budget meeting's
So-
January.
What I would suggest
Yep.
is Saturday morning. Let's move it back a little. If we're doing our budget, it's one thing to have a meeting. Don't make me get up and come at 8 a.m. on Saturday.
So what time do you want us?
Can we do 10? Can we do 10?
No,
please?
that's
No, because we're doing breakfast, so that's too
too
late.
late.
9?
How long
Sure.
does the meeting last?
About 2 hours.
Oh, 8:30 breakfast.
8:30 breakfast, 9 o'clock meeting.
How's
So if you
that?
don't need breakfast.
8:30 breakfast, 9 o'clock
I
meeting?
think if parents wanted to come, 9 o'clock's a better stop time for them.
Yeah.
So 9 o'clock for the public, that we can get there at 8:30.
Correct.
Yep.
And that's going to be here? Or
Upstairs.
I think you should do it in the cafeteria. You want a large venue so if people do come, they're comfortable
Okay.
at the high school.
So here at the cafeteria.
Yeah,
9 o'clock for the public.
9 o'clock. The meeting will start at 9 o'clock, 8:30 if you want breakfast.
Okay.
You happy with that?
We do have an evening event here, Woodstock Academy has I know, but I just wanted to make sure the board was aware that Woodstock Academy is using the auditorium for a concert
On a Saturday?
Saturday afternoon.
Oh, this will only be
Saturday
from 9 to
evening.
11.
So I just to make sure you were aware of that, so that in case
Yeah.
the meeting went long, that reason ended.
You have reason to leave, exactly.
And that'll give you enough time to clear up and do what you gotta do to get ready.
9 o'clock, so we have to be here.
Yeah.
9 to 11 we'll play.
Yeah.
Before we bite ourselves into it.
My husband. It's my husband.
It says December 12th.
That's my only way to sleep in, so I understand.
All right, Board of Education calendar. I'm looking for a motion to accept the calendar for next year.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to accept the Board of Education calendar for 2015-16 school. Am I right?
Or
Yeah.
just 2000.
15,
Yeah.
16,
It's 2016.
16. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Course adoptions. Mrs. Cadro. I get you up there and she's...
Yeah, unfortunately.
You left them at home?
I left them at home.
Yeah, so I gave her mine, so
I
Oh.
I'm supposed to read to you. We have 7 courses. There are 7 courses that were brought to the Teaching and Learning Council, and then they were brought to the Curriculum Subcommittee for the board, and people that were at the committee were very impressed. And I think Audrey's going to just, it's in your board packet, each one of them.
Let's do them all together.
Let's do one together.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't like to question, they can pull out one.
Well, I just have a question, it doesn't say anything about who makes the books. Can I go like online and look at it?
The textbooks?
Yeah,
There's, when they,
or do we not know yet? It's just the
some of
course.
them we know, some of them, will be adopted.
Oh, okay.
But if it's a regular textbook for a course, when the course is proposed, there's a matrix of all different textbooks that they look at, and then they select.
Oh, so this is just the course, and at which
Right,
point what's the,
right.
okay.
But these particular courses will not require any new textbooks.
Oh,
Okay?
I bet, okay.
Meteorology is the one that I really like. Each and every one of these we went over at the meeting, and each and every one of them, I believe, is exactly what we need for our.
I was really impressed. I mean, the presentations were
They were
fabulous.
fantastic, each one.
Can I just ask you for the schedule? You're going to be looking at the social studies curriculum next? Is that?
It's science and social studies this year.
Okay.
It was American Studies.
Would that be part of American?
That's why I
Yeah.
got
Okay,
it.
for the record, let's read all these out.
Okay.
That's why
And we're looking for
meteorology.
request to make a motion to approve, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, it's CP marketing, which is college preparation. College preparation, economics and business law, American studies, honors integrated science and meteorology, world philosophy and ethics, and honors nonfiction literature.
Making a motion to approve all those?
Yes, I am making a motion to approve every one of those.
I second.
Motion made second to approve 7 new courses for high school. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cadro. Thank you.
And do we need to make an, next meeting?
Okay, superintendent's report. We've already had a good talk on the PHS schedule. I don't know how much more you want to actually say on
I
this.
need to brief the board, but I'd rather go in the reverse order. Okay?
Oh, you mean the upcoming health?
So I just want to communicate so that the public here understands it. So there is a proposal to introduce health occupations at the high school. We're looking at it from the CNA perspective. Terry Liebel has been working on that, and there is a full proposal that she has developed to implement this. It was already adopted that the board asked to introduce health occupations. That was a year and a half ago. We were not able to introduce it with all of the other challenges, preschool and SBAC and everything else. We had to delay. Now we have a substantial proposal. It does take a unique certification because the nurse has to be a nurse educator. But if they are a nurse working towards education degree, they can still teach the program. So the program also is really substantially begins in their 11th and 12th grade, although in 10th grade they start taking some of the preparatory. There are hours that have to be accrued. We will bring to you for December meeting the full design of what that course looks like for the board to say, are you prepared to adopt it? Because in January, students look at their catalog to decide if they want to start taking courses towards an area. You need to have it done by January. So we will be bringing to you the proposal. She's done some great work. She's met with the Lions Club. She's met with Dave Kimball. She's met with Bacchus. She's looked at what we need to have in terms of the dummies that have to be worked on, the kinds of tables. It's a very involved class, and it goes through stages from junior to senior year. If you can do it in full scale, they actually can come out with a level of certification. But it takes intern time, where they have to actually have apprentice work out there, and that has to be done also during the school year. I think it may be 300 hours or
Less than that, but it's about a 6-week, 60-hour internship.
So these are all the things that are being incorporated so we can bring it to you in December. This is the highlights. I know you've asked for it, but you need to know we're ready. The other exciting one is world languages, and that's been on the docket, and it's prepared to come forward. And last year we had this curriculum. That was not the issue. The problem is when you have the curriculum and it's ready, you have to start figuring out what gets lost when you start adding a brand new elective program. So to Mr. Gagnon and Mrs. Cadro and certainly Mrs. Kelleher, who's been first voice on this effort, they have come up with a strategy that in 6th grade we would introduce world cultures. So students would begin to understand the cultures of Spanish and French, not formally into language, with some language dialogue, but not formally learning the language. In 7th grade, they would do the actual study of both French and Spanish. They would take them in separate quarters, so it wouldn't be intermixed, and they would get to explore it. So it's called world language exploration. It's done within a semester, every other day, actually not every other day. They determined it needed to go consecutively in this case so that the child can have 1 quarter and really invest in looking at Spanish and then looking at French. And that's what 7th grade. When they get to 8th grade, they have to be selective. They're either going to take a semester now of Spanish or a semester of French, so that when they get to the high school, our students can have a better opportunity to decide whether they want to explore the world language French or world language Spanish, and not just relegate to most of my friends are in. You know, regrettably, we only have, I think, somewhere between 17 to 20 students in our 4th year level classes, such as French or Spanish, and that really should be growing. That should be proliferating in today's world. And so the only way we can do that is for students to have that bit of opportunity, experience, and advocacy. That is one of the areas that you'll hear me in the 3rd part where we talk about it. It is difficult if you're only taking French for 1 semester, and then you may not see that French teacher for a year later in the spring. That's one of the issues that Fort Beaufort has created for us a bit in terms of sequencing of instruction. Things such as languages, which require a bit more sequencing, can be challenged. And so we're trying to push our students to understand and have the excitement and responsibility for learning a second language. What we will do in the middle school, again, a piece that was done, is they're looking at the fact that if you are recommended to do a reading support program because your primary language is a bit challenging, we will exempt them because they can still take languages in the high school when it's credit bearing, but we don't want to have a child who needs that extra time in reading have to take a loss of art, music, or reading for world languages. Final piece of the world languages, which is what took us that time, is we had to actually go back to 8 years ago when world language was offered in our middle school, 8, 9, and 10 years ago, so we could see how PCS actually had it in. And we saw that it does require that some of our electives are quarter schedules, so that they may take art every other day for a semester, which is a quarter's worth, where in some cases they might have had a half of a credit. If we don't, one thing that we're doing systemically is 8 years ago, health used to be part of the PE. Every child takes PE every other day, every year. So instead of taking it every other day and then health, the PE health is a combination. They have met with the PE and health teachers, and they are working towards that model. So what we needed really was to get our teachers to see how health and PE could be combined, opening up 1 quarter of the 1 semester for that exploration of languages, for cultural exploration. The last piece that you'll hear us when we finalize this on December 9th, you can't do world language selection in the 1st year. 7th and 8th grade will both be doing exploratory. They've never done it yet. So if you understand, 6th grade will be cultures, 7th grade will be exploratory Spanish and French, and 8th grade, which has never done it, will have to do exploratory. The next year, they will go to the high school, and the 7th grade will be ready for that 1st year. to do the selection. So do you understand? That's what took the time, is to really sequence how we can do this for children, not hurt art, not hurt music, not hurt PE, not hurt health, not hurt computer science, and not hurt family and consumer science. It takes a lot of work to sequence it.
And when these children come to the high school, will they be taking Spanish 1 or 2?
Spanish 1 in Plainfield. There are students in Sterling that take a full year. They do start in Spanish 2. We're not prepared to go that far, that fast. We'd actually have to lose even more of our electives for that. So we're going to give them the opportunity to start with a half-year experience in that language to be better prepared to progress in that language.
The CNA classes.
Yes.
Could they use them to do their
internship?
Internship, thank you.
Yep.
Do we provide the transportation for that?
We would.
And where would that be?
So it's set up, for example, in the nursing homes and other areas which accept interns, and there has to be a registered person with them. So.
All right, just going back to all the money we're hoping to save on these buses.
We bought a 14-passenger shuttle, not a DECO, so all we need is a person to drive. That's what we did that for, is because we're trying to transport kids right now to career centers such as Big Y, and we don't want to pay DECO $55 an hour, $110 a day per child. We do that for $20 a day for a driver.
You answered my question.
Yep, $20 an hour per day. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So yeah, we thought about the finance of transportation as well. Good questions. So you heard some very bright, competent people are sharing with you concerns about schedule. You have some information from me. This is not a time where I can have that dialogue or challenge. We will see what is brought forward through Mr. Worth to see if there is an alternative. I need you to understand that where this board has been, and I know you received that, as many as 3 years ago, we had a discussion about we have a 4x4, and that's why the board took the responsibilities to double the math and double the English in sophomore year, and scores went up 18 and 23%. My position to you was that we saw a lack of continuity of instruction. We didn't do that for science, we didn't do it for foreign language, we didn't do it for social studies. We did it in the core areas that were tested, and the evidence was scores went up 18 and 23 for that cohort. We then looked at the fact that I met with the union in contract negotiations, and because they knew that we would be changing schedules, they put in our current contract that if the schedule is changed, we would have to abide by the law in terms of making sure that we preserve, prep time and all of the contract provisions. That was 2 years ago that everyone was aware that the schedule cycle would change. A year ago, we provided the opportunity, and many of the faculty, or a number of the faculty, came together and worked on a scheduling sequence. And they presented it as early or as late as February, March, and it was a 7-period drop schedule, so there could be as many as 6 periods a day. And then the proposal was that there would be 5 classes taught out of 7. And for me, the concern that I presented to that team was if 60 teachers teach 6 classes now, 360 classes, 60 teachers teaching 5 is 300. It limits the selection. And then also, if you only go to 7 periods instead of 8, you're then reducing 4 classes. And this board is aspired to move towards graduation by demonstration, to have personal finance, and the state had been putting other ones. So because there was that challenge, and then there was a survey of the faculty that presented a 5 out of 7 rotation versus an AB, but I had presented 2 different models of Mod 7, but it was presented as 2, and the faculty voted 2 to 1 to use a 5 out of 7 model. And because the contract does not preclude it, I had to then offer to the faculty that no, if you want to do a 6 out of 7 or an AB or an alternate 7, vote on one of those. But we did not get any response. At that time, they felt they could not vote on any one of them. So I came to you last year as a board, and I said, if you want 8 or 7, and this board voted you wanted 8 and 32. With 8 and 32, the second question I asked is, if we're going to schedule, are you prepared to drop the double math for freshmen? Because they would then have a sequence of learning, and you did drop the double math. So right now we have a cohort of freshmen who only have 1 algebra or 1 class in one of the semesters. And so next year they need to be in a class. And some of the things I shared in terms of concerns about the current 4x4, when we had summer reading before, right now if they summer read, but they don't see the English until January, there is a voluntary program rather than mandatory. If we have children who come to us from an all-year program and they are in November and they have been in a quarter, we're at the end of our cycle, so it's difficult for us to transition. We have some students who need extra support, and on, for example, an AB day, if they had algebra first period on the B day, they could have algebra support. So you can actually build, and I presented to the faculty this year, before October 30th, 2 models of a Mod 8, which would have 5 classes a day, trying to limit the amount of walk time between, 25 classes a week, 24 of them would be 3 groups of 8 classes. You meet every class 3 times every week standard, or the AB. And they did give some feedback, but there was no substantial challenge to that, except when I went on November 12th, after I had said with the decision there, I need to go forward with a program, I presented the AB to the faculty. I think it's still very important that we hear very good people who want to share, and we will do that. We'll take that with seriousness. I need you to know that as a superintendent of Coventry Public Schools, where they were under Commissioner's watch, just like Plainfield High School was when I came here in 2010 for 2 years, they became one of the top 10 high schools. They're on an AB. There are schools that are an AB that are top performing schools. I find it a little challenging to say that something may be offered without integrity when, in fact, I can't have been a superintendent for 8 years and brought a school to its height and in an AB schedule, and there are many schools out there that are doing this. I think there's merit, and I want that to be able to be shared with you. So I think it was appropriate to give private time and time for you to hear, and I think you need to see what will be presented. I just need you to know that at this point, I believe the AB, for my history, my experience with it, for what I know we can do for children, for having 180 days for learning to percolate, for what I have from personal experience teaching in an AB, has extreme merit for children having the time to learn and grow with rigor. So it is my position right now, but I do want to see what is being provided. Hopefully we'll get it as early as next week before Thanksgiving. Just a discussion right now. We'll have a chance to discuss this further and hopefully make a decision on December 9th.
Any other questions? Okay, standing committees and individual reports. Remember the Caves Gaps Conference starts Thursday night is one, but Friday morning, get there early. They had to stop registration. There's going to be like 580 people there or something like that. I got an email yesterday.
Really?
It's gonna be packed, that lunchroom at lunchtime, I'll tell you.
If anyone would like to drive down, I am driving. I have a minivan. I'll vacuum the Cheerios out. So unless you want breakfast, serve yourself. But just give me a phone call. And I was going to meet at the ECC and leave the ECC at 7:45 to get there probably for about 8:30.
And I'm driving up at 7 if anyone needs it, because we're going to meet the Discovery Bus. It's been invited to be a showcase for the entire conference, for people to see what it can do. So you're welcome.
Where is
You're welcome.
the skate park?
It's at the Marriott Mystic in Raleigh.
Where it was last?
Absolutely, same place.
Same place as last year.
Take that.
No, I can't.
Yeah. Gives you a whole
Does December 2nd look okay for policy?
Mr. Chairman, I was wondering if we could push it back to the 16th. We might want to consider 2 meetings, but I know with the holidays, with Thanksgiving and the Christmas break, I know Ms. Arkin has had a chance to have some discussions with the policy that we've been considering, with the no-knit policy. So we could meet briefly on the 2nd. I know it's worked well for us to meet after the board meeting to give us some time to prepare what we're going to bring forth to the board. So I just want to be mindful of the schedule and the holidays, but I'm flexible and available either.
I'm good for the 2nd. The 16th is out for me, but I'm good for the 2nd.
Either night works for me.
Why don't we do the 2nd? Yeah, that's what we can do on the 2nd.
Yes.
Okay?
All right.
6 o'clock ECC.
Sounds good.
Does curriculum need anything?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything else to say?
All I will say is that from the community liaison perspective, I had an opportunity last month to meet with the Lions, and they were just overjoyed. Number one was the Discovery Bus, which was at their meet and greet, but they were overjoyed for the CNA program, and there will be information coming forth. They really do. They appreciated us recognizing them at the recognition dinner, but they are going to continue to provide that partnership, and they are working to partner with information for the CNA program of making a donation.
I just want to say thank you to the educators that came here tonight. I appreciate your passion and caring for the students in this community.
You got a short period to come up with a plan.
It's a can-do, right?
A can-do plan, yes. I'd like to welcome again our new student board member, and also we have a brand new board member, Steve. Welcome aboard. With that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn.